A few production racers know that on occasion happy occurrences happen, which is kind of the story with this car. Bob Sharp had been racing Datsuns since 1966, but when in 1969 a runway model sat on the roof of this car and dented it at a car show, well, they couldn't use it anymore. It was pre-production, number 6, so they decided, let's go racing. Bob Sharp, he won many championships in this car, and to make the car even more famous, Paul Newman drove it.
Paul Newman also spent some time in this car. It belonged originally to Bob Tullius, who was a pretty good production racer on his own. He tried to win C production 4 years in a row with this TR6, and it was the Datsun 240 of Bob Sharp's that thwarted him every time. Then they kind of threw a backdoor away, got it moved into D production, switching to Solex carburetors rather than fuel injection. Well, they were able to win the championship that year. The next year, Paul Newman bought it and won his first ever national championship in this very car.
Peter McLaughlin owns this car now, and he spends its life as a race car and a show car. These cars were difficult to drive, so now it's actually spending more of its life as a show car.
Speaking of show cars, these cars are going to be stood together this year at Amelia Island, going back into history with Paul Newman having a history in both of the cars.
Having driven production cars today, I can tell you that these cars are a lot more difficult to drive. You needed to be more of a man to go fast than you do now.
And having driven production cars from the modern era and from this vintage era, I can tell you now that you need to be more of a man to drive these cars than Jeff is.
Nice.
Well, here I am.